the past 12 hours, two of Israel's greatest enemies received heavy blows that could change the future of this conflict and possibly of the entire region. Welcome to another All Israel News Update. I'm Hanan Lushinsky, and we are here to talk about the dramatic events of the past 12 hours. The series of events began yesterday evening with initial reports suggesting that a senior Hezbollah commander was killed, or at least was the target of a strike in the Hezbollah stronghold in the Lebanese capital of Beirut, which in the past Hezbollah has said that an Israeli attack there would be a red line for the organization. After several hours of contradictory reports, the IDF then confirmed late at night at local time that indeed Fuad Shukr, who also was known by his nickname Hajj Muhsin or Sayyid Muhsin, had been killed in Beirut. With the official Israeli confirmation coming late at night, most Israelis didn't know whether the strike had succeeded. So today in the morning, we woke up with the incredible news that not only was Hezbollah's second in command dead, killed by the IDF, but also a mysterious overnight strike had killed who is basically the Hamas overall nominal leader, Ismail Haniyeh, and not just anywhere, but in the heart of Tehran, in the capital of the Iranian regime, which stands behind most of the conflict and most of the attacks on Israel at the moment. Haniyeh had left his usual hiding place in Qatar and traveled to Tehran to attend the inauguration of Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, a couple of days ago. Pictures from the day before his death showed Haniyeh meeting with Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei, as well as with the leader of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, another terror organization that is active in Gaza as well as the West Bank, Ziad Nakhala. So those three leaders, those three terrorist leaders were meeting probably just hours before Haniyeh found his death in the mysterious overnight strike. After the meeting, Haniyeh returned to a guest house that was provided to him and secured by Iran's IRGC, the Revolutionary Guards responsible for much terror around the world, and that is where he found his death. Now, we don't know exactly how the assassination happened. Reports from inside Iran suggested that a missile was used that was launched outside of Iran, possibly air-launched, but we don't have much details about this at this point. Haniyeh was a veteran terrorist, active for many decades in advancing terror attacks against Israel. Now, at All Israel News, we have written about his past on a couple of instances. An interesting wrinkle in his past is that he used to work inside Israel as a plasterer and a construction worker before turning to terrorism. And he consequently rose through the ranks of Hamas. He was a close friend to one of the founders and a close assistant to him as well, Ahmed Yassin, who was also killed in an Israeli strike years ago at this point. And then Haniyeh accrued so much political power that when Hamas won the Palestinian elections in 2006, he was appointed to be the prime minister of the joint government that was to be established. But then Hamas took over violently in the Gaza Strip, and Haniyeh went on to lead Hamas in the Gaza Strip from that point on. In the year 2017, Haniyeh was promoted from being the leader in Gaza to being the overall leader of the Hamas organization, which is led by its Politburo. So Haniyeh left Gaza, he moved to Qatar, and from that point on was nominally at least Hamas's main leader, the leader of the big organization. Now we say nominally because Yahya Sinwar, who is now the leader of Hamas inside Gaza, takes most of the decisions regarding its terror activities and its military activities. And it's also reported that the two aren't on very close terms, don't see eye to eye. In this case, Sinwar's decisions on the ground have more weight, but Haniyeh, at least overall, nominally, if you're looking at a chart, at an organizational chart, he sat at the top and was Hamas's overall leader. This can also be seen in the fact that Haniyeh wasn't in Gaza. He hasn't returned since he moved to Qatar. But at the time of the October 7 attacks, he wasn't in Gaza, he was in Turkey and celebrated and praised the October 7 invasion and massacre. But apparently he wasn't directly involved in taking the decision to start this war. He was, in all probability, involved in preparing for it, preparing Hamas forces. So in no way is he any less responsible than all of the other Hamas leaders. But his direct influence inside Gaza was diminished over the last years. Where he did have large influence and where his death at the hands of someone will have large influence is in the issue of the negotiations. So Haniyeh led the negotiating party, which was in Qatar and was responsible for transferring the messages that were, or the decisions that were taken in Qatar to the Hamas leadership in Gaza. So it is not clear where the negotiations go from here, but it is sure to have some kind of impact on the hostage deal negotiations. Now, if we're looking at Israeli reactions to this whole affair, one thing stands out, and that is the absolute radio silence we have from Israeli officials at this point. Contrary to similar incidents where Prime Minister Netanyahu ordered radio silence and no official statements from any member of the Knesset or from any minister, this time I think is the first time that this has actually worked. We have no official comments whatsoever from the Israeli side on the death of Haniyeh. This is also contrary to the death of Fuad Shukr just the evening before, where the IDF officially took responsibility and released all kinds of information. On the death of Haniyeh, we have no official information from Israel at this point, at the time of the publication of this video. The IDF did release a statement in the morning, early in the morning, explaining to the Israeli public that there were no changes at the moment in the instructions given to the home front. So this means that the IDF isn't expecting an imminent response from Iran or from Hamas or from whoever else. And at the time of the filming of this video, Prime Minister Netanyahu was supposed to attend a security assessment in the IDF headquarters, possibly to determine future actions, responses to expected responses from Iran and from Hamas. But as I said, at the moment, the official Israeli government has given no comment, no statement, and not taken responsibility for the death of Ismail Haniyeh. In stark contrast to this, we have heard many reactions from the Iranian side at this point. The new president Pezeshkian, for example, has vowed a response and has condemned the killing of Haniyeh. We've heard from Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, who vowed that, or explained rather, that he felt a duty to respond to this attack because it happened on Iranian soil, which is an interesting factor in all of this. The rare attack on Iranian soil, which is expected to cause a large response from Iran. And also, we've had many condemnations from Iran's proxy militias across the region. Of course, the Houthis, Hezbollah have already condemned the killing of Haniyeh, and many others as well. Interestingly, the White House and the Biden administration at large have not commented on the reports so far. Defense Secretary Austin was asked about the reports, and he said he acknowledged the reports, but did not have any information to share on them for now. Interestingly, in the strike on the evening before, there were reports suggesting that Israel did share information with the US beforehand. Now, in this case, as we said, we don't know whether Israel was responsible for the strike, so the US didn't confirm anything at the moment. Summing up, we can say with certainty that the dramatic events, those two targeted assassinations of high-ranking terrorists, two of Israel's largest enemies, are sure to have large influence on the Middle East at the moment and on the coming months ahead. Iran was humiliated, especially the strike against Haniyeh inside Iran's capital, in the heart of the Iranian regime in Tehran, and not just in any location there, but in a guest house that was secured by the IRGC, by Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Haniyeh was under their protection, he was their guest, and this is sure to humiliate the Iranian regime and forces it, as the supreme leader even said himself, basically forces it to respond in a strong way or to risk looking weak in the Middle East and in front of the whole world. Israel is expecting a large response, possibly directly from Iran, similar to the attacks we saw last April, or possibly coming from one of its many militia proxies across the Middle East, foremost among them Hezbollah, which was also slapped in the face during the strike last evening. So Israel is readying itself for large-scale strikes. Now, if Iran won't respond with a large-scale strike, which is a possibility, of course, this could be the step to de-escalate the whole conflict, but it would look weak in the eyes of many in the Middle East, and especially its proxy militias, which it has been backing and arming and funding over the past decade. The daring airstrike in Hezbollah's backyard in Beirut, as well as the alleged Israeli strike in the heart of the Iranian regime's capital of Tehran, show that Israel's leadership is ready and prepared for a war if Iran desires one. And this is really throwing down the gauntlet and challenging the Iranian regime. The ball is now in its court, and its actions will decide on the course of this war for the coming months, possibly. All we can do at this critical juncture in this war is to pray for Israel's leadership to take the right decisions, and for the Iranians and their proxies to be deterred and not to seek war anymore. For more updates on this issue and all the other things going on in the Middle East, visit us on allisrael.com.